Ronald Reagan has to go down in history as one of the greatest tacticians of all time. Truly a masterclass performance that has continued to improve in effectiveness from even beyond the grave. I swear that even Friesen would be impressed by Reagan's tactical racism, because the black community versus Ronald Reagan isn't even close. If anything, it is the most obvious low diff in the history of mankind. Ronald Reagan and the CIA have continued to cook up devious link-up plays. They are downright untouchable on the pitch. The equivalent of getting 20 laugh reacts dropped on your dome in the group chat or getting bodied in the quote retweets. Yes, this matchup is that one-sided, especially when it comes to this year. So far in 2025, the CIA simply have to clock in and clock out with zero work in between. 2025 has been absolutely cooked for black people. The term "wine" getting popularized to the average person made me feel a pain in my chest. Then there are people proudly claiming that term, like Aaron the plumber. That individual is the embodiment of a nigga moment. No further words need to be spoken. Now back to the term "YNs." Might as well just call me the hard R at that point, because that's what that term feels like. This term isn't even the worst of them. There's new ones coming out every few weeks, like DEI and black fatigue. Although DEI can be kind of funny depending on the context it's used. It doesn't help that 2025 include the worst Black History Month I've seen in my life. It was to the point that I forgot it was February. I opened Twitter on February 1st, checked Black Twitter, and started hearing the Uncle Ruckus theme play in the back of my head. Now honestly, when you think about this matchup, why wouldn't Ronald Reagan win? Like, the birth of Little RT set the black community back to when Adam and Eve were made. Little RT was like the Gojo entering the scene moment in real time for the CIA. Got this 9-year-old kid doing 20v1s. Honestly, the existence of 20v1s in and of itself set the community back as well, especially considering the fact that this style of content is spearheaded by that demographic. 20v1s have become such a staple in the black community that Kamala Harris thought that using this concept of 20v1s in a campaign commercial would get black men to vote, because apparently black men only think with their balls. First off, whoever came up with the idea for that commercial needs to experience medieval torture. Better yet, make them experience bamboo torture. Second off, 20v1s need to be banned worldwide. I never thought that the human race would be able to organize a more degrading version of the Bachelor series. And I mean that because after Sexy Red graced the earth, I didn't think it was possible. Sexy Red has to have been built in a lab, because there's no way. She reminds me of those accounts on Black Twitter that you know were created to start unnecessary discourse. Because why are people arguing that the father of your child shouldn't be good with kids? Only race that has these debates, by the way. This world can't be real sometimes. Now, the topic of degeneracy just reminded me of a current situation that I know has Ronald Reagan forming the most devious smile. So I don't always agree with what Dr. Umar preaches, but one of his takes that I do support is that Snow Bunny mind control is one of the top 10 leading causes to the downfall of black men. After Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse released, the Snow Bunny propaganda was pushed to an all-time high. Now, there's nothing wrong with interracial relationships, but it is weird when it's agenda pushed, which is why when I heard about the recent Shannon Sharpe scandal, I realized that some of you are just fried in the head. Now, Shannon Sharpe's case is a bit different because personally, I believe that he definitely did that shit, because how are you so consumed by lust and self-hate that you feel the need to sell your soul for some white walls? And not just white walls, young white walls. Like, he literally emphasized the word young in an interview before. Prime example of when the gooning goes too far. But my main point here is that people like Shannon Sharpe are just making the CIA's job easier. Earlier, I just talked about my annoyance with the stereotype around black men only thinking with their balls, and here comes Mr. Raceplay Unk ready to prove me wrong. It's like we are willingly deciding to head onto the court with the intention of scoring on our own team. Like when Kanye West was born, Ronald Reagan just felt like his 20-leg parlay hit. Kanye West has been going off the deep end for years, but 2025 specifically has been the greatest display of CTE I've witnessed in my lifetime so far. This man is out here producing beats as if he were broke, all just to slap the worst lyrics known to mankind on them. Thankfully, this loser's entire album got leaked, and I hope that it undersells like crazy. So I took the chance to listen to the entire thing because I needed to laugh, because Kanye is a low cow. Nobody's laughing with him, we are only laughing at him. It's the same concept as low tier god. Nobody likes a dude, but you can enjoy laughing at him. And Lord behold, Kanye is spamming AI in the album and going into detail about how he loves getting cucked. Let this video be a PSA on why you should never take Galaxy gas. Also, when I found out that Dave Bluntz wrote that album for him, it all started to click. And don't worry, I'm gonna get to Dave Bluntz. But back to Kanye. We as a community need to examine his brain so that we can kill off any chance of another Kanye walking to earth. I speak for everyone when I say we. Yes, we are good off a potential cuck 2 release.
Bro, you really didn't read that letter?
God, the more I talk about Kanye, I cringe. Like, in all seriousness, his life needs to be taken from the planet in the worst way possible, be revived, and then have it it happen to him again on loop until the universe ends. An infinite cycle of suffering is the only valid form of punishment for that loser. Alright, let's talk about how Dave Blunt set the community back. Dave Blunt is another mentally touched individual that has been causing chaos. His Jabba the Hutt Gear 4 tank man, the God Emperor of Doom looking ass, is holding concerts and telling his audience that everyone is allowed to say the N-word. Now let's play this clip on the screen again. There aren't even 5 black people in that audience, just straight up tap dancing for the white man and for pure love of the game at that. Although tap dancing wouldn't even be the right term because the bozo can't move. The day he kicks the bucket, I will be getting cooked for the whole day. Also, is it crazy to say that we need Old Testament God back? Because that dude was putting on a generational performance. He was on timing, and these CIA generated individuals need to go. Damn, I was going crazy writing the script for this video. I'm talking about God like he has DBZ transformations. Anyways, the fact is that the CIA is already up by 40 points and we're just trying to catch up. I know I spent a lot of this video talking about people in relation to this topic, so I feel it's time to talk about one of the greatest recent contributing factors as to why Ronald Reagan continues to score consistent hat tricks against us. What Popeyes has done to the black community needs to be studied in schools. I am regularly clowned upon by my friends for having a past with KFC, but these are the same niggas that eat Popeyes every Tuesday. The only addiction I have is Domino's pizza related. Yes, not Little Caesars, Domino's Pizza. The greatest pizza ever to grace this planet. Elite Eats. Honestly, I should make a food tier list video. Anyways, Popeyes was created by the government to set black people back 500 years, and you are going to talk to me about some KFC? Please be serious. The Popeyes chicken sandwich is the equivalent to what Kryptonite does to Superman. Like, crack has to be inside that sandwich. I refuse to believe otherwise. Personally, I think it's overrated. The best item on the Popeyes menu is the biscuit. No, the biscuit isn't dry. Y'all are just weak and need to lock in. However, if I said that outside the confines of my home, I would be stoned to death. So you're probably wondering why I labeled Popeyes as one of the food establishments orchestrated by the CIA. It's because of that Don Julio collaboration. I can't even get too mad at the CIA for this one. Honestly, I have to respect their game at this point. Popeyes is really out here dangling the chicken bone in front of y'all's faces saying, "Here nigga," and y'all fell for the rage bait, the Hesse if you will. Most of us have grown up with black moms. We should be used to rage bait tactics by now. How are we still falling for this? Because I used to be an advocate for Hennessy. If you came to me a year ago, I would be on my knees to have the company sponsor my content because Hennessy is proper alcoholism. However, once my third eye opened, I realized that it was time to beat the allegations and put the Henny in the bag. Quit alcohol altogether. Now, I'm still open to that sponsorship, don't get it twisted, but you get what I mean. At a certain point, we need to break free from the mind control because putting your life on the line to order the "yes, I'm a nigga" meal has to invoke some sort of shame in your body. Genuinely have some shame. There's no way that Don Julio is this good, like some chemical must be mixed inside that's got y'all in a genjutsu. Because the amount of people I've seen get Don Julio tattoos is insane. That's like me getting a Hennessy bottle tattooed on my body. The day I ever participate in some clown behavior like this, please shoot me with a AK-47. No debates, simply take my life because at that point my brain must have been put in a microwave at max volume. Don Julio Popeyes combo. Like none of these words are in the Bible. I'm witnessing sentences being formed that include words that have no business being together. Popeyes even decided to go on a victory lap with the announcement that it will accept EBT. Once again, sentences we have never heard before. I love the English language for how creative we can get with sentences, but it gets to a point, man. Popeyes EBT. How do you hear that and not feel your stomach turn? I first learned about this on TikTok and one of the comments said that Popeyes was adapting to its customers, which is I can't, man. That's one of those times where like I'm reading the script I wrote and I break character, man. I can't even read that. I can't even read that properly. It's actually like so insane. It's actually so out of pocket, but at the same time, it's true. The CIA is out here moving like Maharaga, and all we can do is witness the carnage. Because at this point, I am genuinely scared to see how Popeyes can make us look foolish 6 months from now. Next thing you know, Popeyes is going to start selling Whippets meals, and I know you idiots will be lined up for the obvious bait. At this point, the lights are looking brighter than expected. Even when we get good things like the release of Sinners, which was a great movie by the way, you niggas can't behave yourselves for more than a day. The discourse surrounding that movie turned into a literal cesspool of ignorance and foolishness after opening weekend. Because out of all things that we can discuss about the movie Sinners, why is interracial relations relationships the most prevalent one. Y'all are actually so predictable, which again is why the CIA doesn't have to do their jobs anymore. It's ludicrous. Honestly, the funniest aspect of the CIA jokes going viral is now that more white people know about it, and as always, the fork is found in the kitchen. The CIA jokes aren't funny because it's a bunch of people not taking accountability. I'm not even going to explain how hilarious the irony is here. I'm going to trust that my audience has a brain, but yeah, even though the community continues to suffer these L's, the fact that the fork is still being found in the kitchen brings me joy. So at the end of the day, I'm leaving here with something. At this point, all I can hope for is that in 2026, we stop getting low diffed by the CIA.
Now, if you're someone that stuck around to the end of the video, the honey will be poured on you. If you want to talk to me about anime related topics, check out my Discord server and follow me on Twitter. Also consider becoming a channel member, another way to support me, and I support you back with shoutouts and videos, early access to new uploads, custom emotes, and members only content depending on what level of membership you decide to choose. On this channel, I discuss whether something deserves a W or an L, so if you're someone that enjoys content that keeps it real, consider subscribing to change this channel from local to global. Now, I gotta get back in the kitchen to cook. Peace.